Hello there, Site 42 staff, as well as those of you from the greater SCP Foundation community. And welcome to another Coffee Break with Dr. Sherman, a subsidiary of the anomalous broadcast from Site 42. As always, I am Dr. Theron Sherman, Site Director here at Site 42 of the SCP Foundation. And as I have done for the last 10.5 months and counting, because the daily stream streak must remain strong, I'm here to open my office doors to you, the SCP Foundation staff, to answer your burning questions about this dark and mysterious place of employment we call the SCP Foundation. So whether you have questions about the anomalies we contain, the staff who contain them, the groups of interest who try to stop us from containing them, or hypothetical containment procedures about anomalies that fall outside of the SCP Foundation's purview, perhaps they're from a different multiverse or pataphysical narrative level, i.e. fandom. Either way, we are here for the next 60 to 90 minutes today for a coffee break. I am in desperate need of some caffeination because of everything that's been going on since yesterday. I will explain, but before I do, let me get done with a little bit of housekeeping first. Experiment's gone wrong. Thank you for starting the stream by sending a $100 to today's Containment Hazard Assessment team. I'm certain that the chat will continue to keep it $100 at your urging. Renderman, thank you for your first donation of today's stream. Grab yourself some mozzarella sticks on your way past the commissary, and you said your customary Site Delta on top. Well, good for them, I guess. Next up, Dr. Vincent, congratulations on being today's most punctual member of the Containment Hazard Assessment team, i.e., congratulations on being first chatter. Meanwhile, alongside you, Philip November, Zenith, Amber, Zerdrin, Fanta, Dr. Frogman, Robin St. Pierre, everybody who I have just named, thank you for being here punctually, and thank you for being members of Site 42 on YouTube. Pardon my eyeball here. Thank you for being punctual. Thank you for being members here on YouTube. We appreciate your membership and your service. Furthermore, Site 19 Hive, Nathaniel Palace, Eternal Sugar, Saul Martin, and Experiments Gone Wrong. Thank you all for being here punctually, and thank you for being here today just for being you. Robin St. Pierre, thank you for your 19-month member message as the Mobile Task Force Captain here at Site 42. We appreciate your membership and your service. Hello, Dr. Sherman, this is Captain St. Pierre. Have you deployed Mobile Task Force Uniform Hotel 1, codename The Unhinged Bunch? They use pretty creative methods in field. I have not had a reason to deploy MTF UH1. I have not had the pleasure or need to have done so, but I do hear they can act highly unorthodox in the field, which improvisation is an important thing to have in mind when you are in the field with such unpredictable anomalies. So it is a commendable trait of theirs. Clayton Grimm, thank you for gifting a 100 to today's Containment Hazard Assessment team. I'm certain, thanks to you reminding them, they will continue to keep it 100. For real, and not for play. Now, for today's stream subject, UC. Let me type out exactly, or let me say exactly what I typed out here. So, yesterday I explained to you all the situation we had with what we call the liminator. The liminator was something we expected to, once it was turned on, cause whatever room that you are in or the machine is in to liminalize, so to speak. We thought that the liminator was going to make the room liminal, was going to cause 100 SCP-184 tendencies of room expansion, new hallways, very similar to what is seen in the Backrooms, Jingle Jingle. But we got the terminology wrong. This was not a liminal inator. This was a liminal eliminator. The liminator's job is to eliminate liminality, which means taking the middle places out of places. Meaning there's no way to transition from inside a room to outside a room because there's no middle distance. And therefore, 85% of Site 42's main campus is now one big room. And even more of our containment staff, security staff, and anomalies are all locked in this one big room. All of the bad bitches on security staff, all of the bad bitches who do the research, all of the very bad bitches who are in containment for being so bad, all of them, one big room full of bad bitches. We are out here, thankfully, not trapped in the LACKROOMS, but we are trying to build a liminator eliminator in order to eliminate the liminator so that 85% of our site is not just one big room full of bad bitches, but instead it can go back to being multiple rooms. We have not figured out how to do that yet, but we are working on it. So, have faith, Site 42 staff. We've been in worse predicaments than this before. Whew. So yes, I've been up all night. I've been up all morning. I'm very tired, which is why this is a short stream. I've got more research to do once we're done. But for now, a small break to clear my head, a coffee break, if you will, with a Q&A with you guys. Maybe you'll bounce some ideas off me. It'll give me that eureka moment to save the day around here. Right, refreshing the chat. Intern Ober, we just started stream. There is no way I would end it right now. That's such a strange request for you to make. Intern Nova, I have never shut up once in my life, and you saying so will not successfully get me to do so. Best of luck on your attempt, though. Wait, is that why I'm stuck in a weird room? Yes, intern Eternal Sugar. Unfortunately, you are transmitting, it seems, from inside the LACKROOMS. Because there is no middle distance, there's no separation of rooms, everything is just one room. And, unfortunately, because that's a spatial anomaly that does not make sense, sometimes you will find yourself passing in and out of other people or objects, which I hear is very uncomfortable. Intern Daxrays, you're claiming that you have the kill switch for this. Well, please give it to security staff and we'll see if that functions properly. Or if you are just kind of puffing up your chest and not actually telling full truths right now. I saw a Ko-Fi notification. Let me get to that before I forget it exists. Kitty Fly, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. I think you're a member, and so thank you for that if so. And thank you for making the effort to go to the Ko-Fi to donate. It only takes 3% of your donation as opposed to YouTube Super Chats taking 30%. So especially for larger donations, we appreciate you going through the effort to go to the Ko-Fi. Grab yourself some tapioca pudding on your way past the commissary. Watch your step when exploring SCP-087. That could be a long trip. Well, while the staircase is in fact infinite, there are multiple U-turning landings. Therefore, you would not fall down, 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 say the joke of an infinite escalator, because you're falling down the up escalator. No, you would hit a landing, smash against a wall, and it would be actually a pretty interesting trick if you managed to roll U-turn style to keep rolling down the stairs. That would be anomalous in and of itself. Philip November, thank you for 2 donations to today's stream for your first donation, as well as being a member. Grab yourself a chicken sandwich on your way past the commissary. You should check out the middle rooms. Listen, I don't need the back rooms right now. Jingle, jingle. The lack rooms are taking up all my attention and energy at this moment. The middle rooms can be a field trip later on. And also, Mobile Task Force Furry has been trapped in a single room together. I wouldn't go in there when it's over. Well, are you saying they're in the lack rooms with everybody else? Are you saying that the Mobile Task Furries have been trapped together in a separate room, separate from the situation? I'm less worried about that last one. Okay, what's happening now? Sheeny, a representative double agent within Async. You might be able to help us with this. So, a quick reprisal summary. Yesterday, we found an object, an anomalous machine called the Liminalator. Now, we thought this was an innator in the Dr. Doofenshmirtz way of labeling things innators. And this innator of liminal would make a place more liminal. It would add rooms, it would add hallways. Very SCP-184, very the back rooms, jingle jingle. But this was not, as we hypothesized, a liminalator. It was a liminal eliminator. It eliminates liminality, which means that if you flip it on, then all of the neighboring rooms to you become one big room, because there's no more middle spaces. You can't go in and out of the lack rooms, as we call them, because they are lacking rooms. You can't leave the lack rooms because there's no middle place between where you are and where you aren't. So you just are. And so over the course of the last 24 hours, 85% of Site-42 has become one big room. And all of our bad bitches are in that one big room. All of our security staff who are badass researchers. All of our security staff who are badass security staff. All of our researchers who are badass researchers. All of our anomalies who are so bad that we contain them. All of these bad bitches. It's just one big room full of bad bitches. And we need to get them out of the lack rooms immediately. What if I just walk through the walls and escape the room with only 4 walls? Zenith, you can walk into the lack rooms because you're coming from the outside where logic makes sense. But once you end out inside, the logic stops making sense. You are stuck in there. So yes, you can go in, but I wouldn't recommend it. I saw another Ko-Fi. Let me get that before I forget it exists. Lanny the Demon Angel, thank you for your first donation to today's stream, and thank you for making the effort to donate through the Ko-Fi. We appreciate that. Go ahead and grab yourself a grab yourself a shrimp cocktail on your way past the commissary. Love them shrimpies. I just got my shirt. Birthday money put to good use. Fuck ice, nice shirt. Well, I am glad you have and are appreciating your shirt. Thank you for supporting the channel in said way for your birthday. And yes, fuck ice, as always. Do you have footage of the lack room when you send someone in the lack room? Intern Iron. All of our footage of people entering the lack rooms is logged in security, which is now part of the lack rooms. So we have the footage, we just can't get to it or get it out of there. But we're working on it. Captain St. Pierre, thank you for donating your first donation of today's stream as well as being a member. Grab yourself a parfait on your way past the commissary. Everyone loves parfaits. Dr. Sherman, last I heard of UH-1, they contained a pretty large group of magic-wielding human derivative anomalies, including a certain Tom Riddle, though not conventionally. Interesting. How? You know, the Department of Thaumaturgy would like to have words with a lot of those magic-wielding human derivative anomalies. Tactio, no, not Tactio, Tactical Theology, that's religions. The Department of Thaumaturgy would like to have words with the magic wielders. Onyx, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Grab yourself a Orange Julius on your way past the commissary. Anyone have metal coats so I can evolve to Steelix? Unfortunately, the stockroom closet that contains the Pokemon evolutionary objects is now trapped within the lack rooms. So you're going to have to wait until we fix the situation in hand. Where are we here? Just double checking this. All clear. Yes, Kitty Fly, thank you for donating again to say, can we live stream the lunar eclipse tomorrow? You know, in case any eclipse-related anomalies happen, it'll be around stream time, I think. Well, I do not know what time the lunar eclipse was. I did not realize it was tomorrow. I've got a lot going on at the moment. But I would have to look into that and see. I do not know if that will be possible or not, so I cannot commit, but I will look into it and see what I discover time-wise and placement-wise. Intern Crawford, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Grab yourself a melon ball on your way past the commissary. What would happen if SCP-053, the Witch Child, and SCP-99 interacted with each other? Well, I don't remember what SCP-99 is off the top of my head. SCP-099 is codename The Portrait, a 73 by 50 centimeter painting titled The Portrait, created in 1935 by a surrealist painter, René Magritte. The original painting possesses mimetic properties that trigger acute paranoia and lingering psychological effects when viewed for too long or from a distance of approximately 3 meters or less. The painting depicts a simple still life with the addition of a single eye staring back at the viewer. Reproduction of the work currently hangs in the Museum of Modern Art in New York, with critical elements removed to prevent the paranoia trigger. Those who have viewed the painting for too long or too close a distance become subject to the delusion that any being or depiction of a being with eyes is staring at them. In extreme cases, subjects report that inanimate objects are making direct eye contact with them. The condition is so severe that subjects will even report making eye contact with individuals whose heads are completely turned away. Depending on the length of the original exposure to the painting, subjects may suffer from this condition until death, resulting in severe paranoia and Enochlophobia. Okay, well, The Witch Child and a paranoia-inducing painting. Well, the little girl doesn't seem to do much except make people around her want to kill her. Although they end up dying themselves, of course. We all know this about SCP-053. So, basic speech, slightly above average in mental development. Ignorant of the effects that it has on people. Okay. So perhaps then the situation at hand is that I imagine 053, when interacting with this SCP-99 portrait, I think that probably 053 would be subject to its anomaly. It doesn't state that 053 is immune to anomalies itself. Therefore, I would assume that the paranoia aspect would infect 053. Wouldn't you agree? #051, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. I appreciate you being here. It's been a while. I hope you've been doing well. Grab yourself a ribeye meal with 2 sides on your way past the commissary. 051 here after a while, so I found out why I'm stuck in the database. Someone idiots use SCP-6747 while I was on a plane during travel. And I bet that the same thing that's doing that to Site-42 with the Inator problem. So you think that all that time ago when you got stuck in the database, you think that someone is now doing that here as well? These are 2 pretty far apart situations of sabotage. If you're thinking they were here for that long, it must be a double agent within the Foundation. Someone who has been present since you got trapped. Interesting. I mean, we can't rule anything else right now. We are in chaos, so anything we just got to make sure we don't get too paranoid as well. We need to work together to fix this liminalator problem, and then we can try to court-martial anyone who might have engaged in subterfuge against the Foundation. Philip November, thank you for donating again to say, can you break the 4th wall and exit like Gwenpool leaves the comic pages? So, depending on, I guess, my author's creativity, would tell you in what manner I am capable of breaking the 4th wall and or breaking the format of our universe, so to speak. Thus far, the only time my author has me breaking the 4th wall is if it comes down to some sort of explanation about the kayfabe of the Foundation regarding, you know, telling people the SCP Foundation isn't real, or talking about events outside of our universe up at their pataphysical narrative level using me as a mouthpiece, which is never pleasant. But I don't think I have more abilities than commentary, or at least haven't been used in that method yet. Whoops. Experiments gone wrong. Thank you for sending a floating heart to today's containment hazard assessment team. I am sure that they feel loved by your generosity. Experiments gone wrong. Thank you. Oh, a second floating heart. I'm sure they feel doubly loved. Sheeny, thank you for your first donation to today's stream, as well as being a member. Grab yourself a stiff drink for dealing with this. You deal with async for a while at the back rooms, jingle jangle, and then you come back here expecting some downtime, but nope, it's time for the LACKROOMS, a completely different liminal situation, so yeah, do what you need to get by. Since this device essentially screws with reality, would an anchor have any effect, or am I barking up the wrong non-screaming tree? Well, so far, all of the SRAs that we have activated on site have ended up within the LACKROOMS. It is possible that the activation of the SRAs are somehow aiding the spread of the situation rather than hampering it. And so the question then becomes, why does a Scranton reality anchor cause the LACKROOMS to absorb that sort of energy? How does that change the situation in a way that enhances the liminalator? Intern Onyx, thank you for donating again to say, I've got beef with O5, they won't allow more Pokemon. Well, they're anomalies. They shouldn't be running around. So clearly, most of them must be contained. The ones that we do keep out of containment are for use in containment protocols for other Pokemon. The best way to catch a Pokemon is to battle it with another Pokemon. You know the rules, and so do I. Philip November, thank you for donating again to say, Puppy of Interest crossover, please. Unfortunately, Puppy of Interest 42, codename Charlie, is out on a mission with Agent Goose, trying to find some sort of way to help us with the liminal later. Therefore, I do not have access to Puppy of Interest 42 right now, unfortunately. 051, thank you for donating again to say. So I enter in contact with 058, and now you have access to SCP-6747 file. Please consult. Well, yes, you mentioned that that's how you think you have been forced into the database, but I do not understand how that would have anything to do with our liminal later situation. Yeah, you're talking about Project Machina. No, 677 is the terminal goal of Project Ex Machina. Theoretical process by which to reinstate decreased personnel, mesofictional injection. In this process necessitates the indefinite maintenance of a causality bubble 6747, a pocket universe which could be manipulated through the shared imagination of fictional scenarios taking place within it. Fictionalized energies could then theoretically be retrieved and reinstated in baseline reality. So yes, that would be bringing people back to life in a roundabout method using pataphysics. I don't understand how that injected you into the SkipNet database, although I'm not exactly, I mean, when it comes to pataphysics, things get really messy really fast, so I'm not to discount anything when you're dealing with the pataphysics department. Dr. Frogman, 6747 doesn't so much revive the dead as it creates a new iteration of them and then pulls them into reality. It's like using imagination to power creating a person. That's at least the very, very small skim I have here in the description. It is, of course, as some SCPs tend to be, very, very long. I can see some references to 2747 in the background as well, and so that has something to do with something. I do. Oh boy. Fourth wall broken. A storyline sought to control and unexact its mortal toll. Another realm, it's wrought anew, a twisted caricature of you. Though from our makers we're uncrossed, the Sherm will exact the cost. So we have another case of, oh boy, this anomaly knows who you are if you're signed in. So, be careful. We're dealing at high levels of pataphysical tomfoolery in this article. You may be in danger for reading it. Intern Chariot, thank you for sending a 100 to today's Containment Hazard Assessment team. I am certain they will continue to keep it 100 at your urging. Intern Whitington asks, I googled the strongest SCP and it said 3812. Is that true? Intern Whitington, in case you are looking for the strongest SCP, there are some who do believe that yes, 3812, through its ability to transcend all pataphysical narrative levels at once, means that it is in complete control of every pataphysical level that is below it, because it is above all levels. So it can treat any universe at any pataphysical narrative level as a fiction. This is similar to the concepts of, if you've seen the death battle between Simone the Digger and Kyle Rayner the Green Lantern. This is that same, okay, well, they can transcend their story, transcend that story, so on and so forth. That is 3812 in a nutshell. That is definitely one of the most powerful concepts for an SCP. But also you have to deal with the fact that SCP-6101 literally says in its description that SCP-6101 is the most powerful SCP. It doesn't get much more black and white than that, than the text on the page, I'm afraid. And of course, we can't forget the other, definitely strongest SCP of all time. No way that anyone else could claim the title. SCP-777-J, codename Darkblade. So yes, there's a bevy of anomalies that could claim to be the strongest, and because there is no canon, you are free to take your pick. O51, thank you for donating again to say, oh shit, they plucked me from my universe into your universe's database and removed your O51 from your reality. That's bad. That's a highly complex plan, but why would they do that? Why would they go through the trouble of plucking you from your universe, putting you in our skipnet, and then also removing our O51? What did they do with our O51? Did they put that in another universe's skipnet database? Are they just playing a shell game with O51s? Actually, SCP-022-J is the strongest SCP. You are not going to trigger an SCP-022-J-2 response from me today. I am already busy with other emergencies. I'm taking a short coffee break to talk to you. I do not have time or energy to get into it with you about how titanium is not a super tough super metal. Nope, you're not gonna get me. No. Maybe they put our O51 in O51's universe. Intern Homeworld. Do you think that we traded O51s with them? Interesting hypothesis. O51, do you know if you've been replaced with our O51? Do you have any intel on that? Onyx, thank you for donating again to say, I'm partially Pokemon. This seems racist. Against Pokemon? I don't know in what manner. My universe doesn't have Pokemon, so the fact that there are Pokemon here is anomalous. Now, in the Pokemon universe, where Pokemon are a natural part of life and civilization and normalcy, they're not anomalous. But in my universe, they are, because they are not the norm around here. It's that simple. Remember, aliens might be biologically normal, but they are still anomalous because the human civilization doesn't know about aliens, so we have to keep them a secret. Try calling the SCP-3358 team. They have a reality bender capable of countering anomalous properties. Said RBs created SCP-3358, a hotel where unwilling anomalies can feel normal. I have not heard of 3358 before. You've got my interest. Not the first hotel-based anomaly that we've had on hand. It won't be the last, I'm sure. Anomaly Apartments, Site 316. Former apartment complex located in the state of Washington. Encompasses 33,300 square meters, making everything within it invisible, inaudible, and otherwise undetectable from the outside. That's a neat trick. Close proximity to 3358 can result in the neutralization of anomalous effects possessed by humans. The process of neutralization is not instant. Time until full neutralization depends on the anomaly. However, removal from 3358 will cause any prior anomalous properties possessed to return at higher intensity than what subjects possessing them refer to as normal. Okay, so you really got to get that fully neutralized, otherwise it comes back with a vengeance. That is tricky. Interesting, interesting. Gonna have to look through that to see how their protocols are. Maybe we can offload some of our anomalous humanoids. Oh, I saw a Ko-Fi notification. Let me get that before I forget it exists. Oopsie doopsie. Sheeny, thank you for donating again. Thank you for making the effort to go through the Ko-Fi this time. We appreciate the effort. Bear with me, trying to work my mind through this. If SRAs make the situation worse, would moving to the other side of the spectrum maybe move things in reverse? Mess with reality to the point where it makes the effect null. Seems like a last resort kind of plan, though. I mean, yes, I am not a fan of things becoming even more abnormal than usual, although if the SRAs are maintaining reality and that's causing it to spread, then maybe a little anarchy and unreality would be the way to go. Phone the Department of Unreality and see what they say about the situation. If anyone were going to do such a thing, I would want the unreality technicians to be the one to handle it. Intern Elliot, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Grab yourself a brownie on your way past the commissary. Can you show us any SCPs? Also, which is your favorite? So, right now on hand, all I have access to is this alternate universe iteration of SCP-999 that came through a dimensional wormhole the other day. We got to send it back eventually, but not before we run our proper tests. But this iteration of SCP-999 not only has facial features, unlike our 999, but it's actually much smaller, and as in palm-sized, and it is also prone to shaping itself as a kitty cat. And so this is the SCP that I have on hand today. We need to figure out the deal with it and then send it back. But for now, we're running tests. So yes, I can show you Kitty Cat SCP-999. Furthermore, since you asked my favorite SCPs, in no particular order, SCP-3999, SCP-3043, SCP-008-J, SCP-Spooky-J, SCP-5031, SCP-5175, SCP-5320, and SCP-8980. Content warning on that last one. It's a bit of a rough read. 051, thank you for donating again to say, I found out in some hidden file that they tried to reset my universe through SCP-2000 and 6747, making a defect in reality, and we got traded, and from the multi-universal SCP Foundation link, to suck in the database of my universe. All right, I was following you until the end there. It got a little confusing. So, they tried to reset your universe through now, SCP-2000 only works for humanity, typically, on Earth. It's not usually a universal reset. You guys must have had a very much larger and more advanced iteration of SCP-2000 if you thought that was going to be a universal reset. And then 6747, that just, the pataphysics there makes my brain hurt thinking about it. But if you're using SCP-2000, why would you need SCP-6747? It must be some sort of reason to implement both solutions and not just one of them. Although I can imagine that improper use of 6747 and the different pataphysics anomalies would cause a defect in your reality. But I don't know what that has to do with our reality and you taking our 051 in a trade, so to speak. Cypher's Girl, thank you for your first donation to today's stream as well as being a member. Make sure to grab yourself a tuna tartare on your way past the commissary. Hi, Dr. Sherman. Nice blue hair anyway. My birthday is in like a week, but I know I won't be able to catch a live, so can I get an early birthday classic Sherman crash out? I am already in a somewhat perturbed mood by the fact that 85% of my site is now just one big room full of bad bitches. I would very much prefer it if we can keep our heads in the game here. This is supposed to be a calming moment where we think of how to solve this problem so that we can get rid of the LACKROOMS. So we can return Site 42 to being a series of separate rooms and not just one big room. Oh51, thank you for donating again to say, my guess is that we both got ejected into each other's universe, and without a proper body, the database was the closest thing that could hold our soul or spark or whatnot without us becoming dead. Okay, interesting. Trapped in the machine because you both got ejected but didn't have a body to land in. I wonder why it ejected only your bodies, but then your bodies didn't land in the new place to land in and you ended up in a computer. I need you to give me the dimensional coordinates for your universe so I can reach out to my compatriot over in that universe, my analog over there, and see what they say about our 051 in your setup. Thoughts on shaking SCP-049's hand? You would die. Its touch is literally lethal. My thoughts on it is it's a bad idea. My thoughts on it are you shouldn't touch 049. Can't even get a crash out for my birthday. Cypher's girl. You can't just ask for a crash out. You can't manufacture a crash out out of nothing. There's got to be some sort of spark, some impetus, some gunpowder. Come on. You don't want a fake crash out. That's sad. A fake crash out? That's not a birthday present at all. I'm going to do it on March 5th. Okay, intern researcher Sprite, so I am going to lock you in a humanoid containment cell for the entirety of March 5th so that you do not end your own life for whatever reason you may be planning to. Dr. Sherman, I'm saying you could bring in 3358's creators to counter the LACKROOMS. They'd be more in compliance since they were allowed to mingle with other residents. I'm not saying that's not a bad idea as a starting platform. I am concerned as to how bringing them out of 3385 was, or 3358, might cause some sort of issue with 3358 itself. And so we got to make sure the logistics are fine that we could pull them out of there without sacrificing the integrity of 3358, because I'm not familiar with that anomaly. I have not read it through. I don't know what it could do. Why is there a tall, white, humanoid, skinny guy in my house, and whenever I look at him, he crashes out? Well, intern Zud, that is your roommate Pete. And every time you look at Pete, he remembers that you haven't paid your goddamn rent. So, maybe he wouldn't crash out if you were a little bit more responsible. I'm just saying. I have an SCP idea. Tell me if something like it already exists. A chamber that runs evolution simulations based on input data. It can stimulate millions of years of natural selection in days. So, well, before I look up the concept of evolutionary SCPs, what I would first warn you of is I would not worry if it already exists on the database. Just by virtue of you writing it yourself, rather than the way that the person who originally wrote the article wrote it, you would likely come up with something so different that you would end up with a completely different article all the way around. The ideas being the same isn't the end of the world. We already have 3 or 4 statues that move when you don't look at them, but they all do different things. They have different goals, therefore they are different anomalies. So yes, that being said, I'm not seeing anything in the tags about evolution. And so I would do a search next of the database for the word evolution. And I would limit that to SCPs. And I get 311 pages on the database. Now, this one title a hastened evolution. Next one is convergent evolution. Next one's evolution in darkness, evolution in a bottle, evolutionary rescission device. You've got a whole lot of different SCPs that mention evolution in one way or another. So again, come to the search function. It's in the top right corner of the SCP database. Type in the word evolution, tag SCP, and then take a look through and see if there's anything like you're talking about. Cypher's girl, thank you for donating again to say, I'm going to go let 7 to them. 9. That's J. Out of its cell. I will lock you in a titanium box with that thing so fast that your head will spin. And when I say your head will spin, I'm not saying, oh, you'll be a little disoriented. Oh, you'll be like the Exorcist with your head spinning. No, I'm just saying you're going to get so infected with SCP-022-J-1. Wait, is it, which one is it? Is it frickin', which is the meme and which is the metal? 022-J. -J is the metal. -1 is the idiots who keep trying to use titanium for things they shouldn't. So yes, you're gonna have your head spinning with how much you're in love with titanium, at which point I'm going to drop a titanium anchor on your head to try and cure you of your titanium love affair. Now, will that kill you? I don't know. I'll find out. I know that it's actually a very light anchor. In fact, how much would a titanium anchor weigh? I want to know. I want to know. You see, making a titanium anchor is not good because it's not the strongest, heaviest metal. It's just strong for its lightweight uses. It's a bad idea. And I didn't mean anchor. I meant anvil. You know I meant anvil because I'm... Titanium anvil. Hard mode anvils. Making a titanium anvil part 1. Making a titanium anvil part 2. How much does it weigh? How much does it weigh? Your average anvil weighs between 120 and 150 pounds, apparently. That's at least what this is saying. Anvils for blacksmithing weigh between 75 and 500 pounds. Okay, so you will die if I drop an anvil on your head, even if it is made of titanium. Because titanium, well, no, because then 140-pound cast steel. Okay, so how much does steel weigh compared to titanium? How much does steel weigh compared to titanium? You want a birthday present? I'm going to give you a headache for your birthday. That's what you're going to get. 45% lighter than steel, approximately. So, if it's 140 pounds for a steel anvil, then you're going to be sitting at about a 75 to 80 pound anvil, which will still hurt if it lands on your head. So yes, this lightweight, but still pretty heavy anvil is going to hurt. And that's what you're going to get for your birthday. You're welcome. O51, thank you for donating again to say, my universe's location is 0138, and before you say anything, our Dr. Sherman is like your Dr. Clef. Well, I wonder what sent that jolly man down such a dark path. Yeesh. V-Dubs, thank you for your first donation and your second donation to today's stream. Grab yourself some bratwurst on your way past the commissary. Funny SCP guy, Angie. And then, would the sandstorms in Spec Ops: The Line be considered an anomaly? And if so, how would the events in Dubai be covered up? So, is the sandstorm in Spec Ops: The Line, if I remember correctly, is that part of the main character's hallucinations? Or did that actually happen? Doom, doo, doom. Because either it is a real sandstorm, in which case it's not anomalous and it's not our problem, but if it's part of the main character's psychosis, then you could be looking at a form of nature as karmic punishment in a sort of Silent Hill manner. It's Silent Hill in the desert. And if so, how would the events in Dubai be covered up? Well, that's a military person going AWOL. That's not actually abnormal. Therefore, it's not our problem to cover it up. Cypher's Girl, thank you for donating again. To say, it's too late. 7-2. You knew it was coming. Steel yourself. 9-J has been released. I'll put it back in itself. You give me the full crash out. Yelling, phone shaking, the works though. Dr. Sherman, SCP-5004-B, oh dear God. And by that, I mean SCP-5991, codename VorJesus, because really, I am this close to preferring to eat another Bible than to get away from that son of a bitch. SCP-5004-B and SCP-729 SJ donned titanium armor and are raiding the site with an army of trees that don't scream and titanium peeps. I know that you're all lying. I know that there's no thing running around the site causing chaos. I know that the President of the United States, that bonehead, is not here at Site 42. What I don't know is why in the middle of a site-wide catastrophe where 85% of the site has been turned into one big room with the LACKROOMS threatening to put all of our bad bitches in one big room where there will be a free-for-all of death, where those anomalies might already be in there if they were here. Why you don't find it to be the right thing to do to help me work the problem, I'm here at the 1 hour mark of today's coffee break with you trying to rage bait me. Now, if this is a brilliant plan to work me up into a lather, at which point I will stumble upon the right solution, well, then fuck you, it hasn't worked. And if it does work, I'll throw you a party. But right now, it's not working. In the words of the Prince of the Underground, don't you have anything better to do? Loud environment. Sound levels hit 90 decibels. Around 30 minutes at this level can cause temporary hearing loss. Repeated long-term exposure can lead to permanent damage. Consider wearing your AirPods or moving to a quieter location to protect your hearing. Fuck off! Jesus Christ is the way and truth of life. Intern Aaron, which Jesus, okay? We contain here at the SCP Foundation 6 Jesuses. 6 Jezi. Do you want us to worship cockblock Jesus, or bread Jesus, or Uber driver Jesus, or Vor Jesus, or Milk Jesus, or maybe Jim Davis, creator of Garfield, who is somehow also the second coming of Jesus Christ? Which Jesus? Pick one. Jesus of Nazareth. Aaron, all of the Jezi that I have just listed are ostensibly Jesus of Nazareth. You're not going to get out of picking by picking like that. Uber driver, bread, cock block, Vor, cheese, or Garfield. Oh51, thank you for donating again to say. To answer Desk, yes, Clef and Sherm are inverted between my universe and yours. And to be fair, it is funny to watch. So not only is your universe's Dr. Sherman very Clef-like, but your Dr. Clef is very Dr. Sherman-like? What a weird way to go. Desk in the back channels. At least we know that universe's Dr. Sherman still has good fashion taste. Yes, at least the Clef and Dr. Shermans of that universe are still fine purveyors of Hawaiian shirts. V-Dubs, thank you for donating again to say, would the Hackett family from the game The Quarry be anesthetized, or would they be recruited in the Foundation? I think you mean amnesticized, but the Super Chat keyboard is kind of awful when it comes to typos, so I would not be shocked, but I think that's what we're thinking about here. Well, Desk shared with me the Hackett family, because I've never heard of this game. Is that? Is that Ted Raimi? That is Ted Raimi, right? Sam Raimi's brother? Xena Warrior Princess actor? Shows up in all of Sam's stuff because Ted Raimi is pretty funny? I swear that looks like Ted Raimi. They managed to contain the spread and knowledge of a werewolf disease thing for 6 years. Also, yes. Oh, cool. Nicknames. Oh, he was voiced and motion captured by Ted Raimi. Wonderful. Good to see you, Ted. Nicknames. Detective Dick Whippet. Officer Oat for Brains. T Money. Sergeant Little Dick. T. Thackett. Hun. Crooked ass cop piece of shit. That's a lot of nicknames. So the Quarry, the Hackett family. So I guess because they have a lot of multi-universal kind of story things going on here, I guess my question is, you're saying the Hackett family hid a werewolf disease for a while. Were they successful at containing it? What stopped them? I see that the person dies a lot. Possible deaths, of course. I just don't know enough about the Quarry storyline to see how effective they were. My first instinct is if there is a group that is maintaining a situation like this without our involvement, we would usually give them the resources to continue doing so. Hence, therefore, not risking our own groups. I know there's a anomaly, I think by Cactus. A recent Cactus anomaly. That's a village that sacrifices young girls to a monster out in the woods or something like that. Seasonal menu, shared grave, all copper buddy, demon Hector, dread Titania, shared grave, wormhole, meldrum, light bulb, edge of the world, tokophobia, virgin birth. 8935? 8935! Yeah! 8935 is a fucked up murder monster that we keep sacrificing virgins to, I think it is. And we just let the town keep doing it. So yeah, we've done that before, and we'll probably do it again. That's what I think we would do, is we would just keep the Hacketts in charge and give them resources to contain the anomaly there. We would probably help them not lose like they did in the game, it seems like they may be. And if not, then we would probably take them down, amnesticize them, and handle it ourselves. Cypher's Girl, thank you for donating again to say, your new nickname is Sherman72. I deal with it. That's not gonna stick. I'm not worried about that. O51, thank you for donating again to say, oh God, your server is in the room too. The simulation for me to return to my universe and to give your 051 back, included but is not limited to a wood chipper, a gun, and a one-legged gnome, holy Maries, and a machine spirit. Your server is in the room too. The simulation for you to return to my universe and give your 051 back, includes been limited to a wood chipper, a gun, a one-legged gnome, holy Maries, and a machine spirit. That's a very odd combination of situation. I am interested in seeing why such a hodgepodge of objects would help you at all in this situation, especially outside of your server, while you are inside of a server. Double check this here. I'm surprised no one has pressed the off button on the device yet, since they're all in the same place. Intern Dax rate. Oh. My throat hurts. Too much neck tension trying to deal with this rage-baiting chat today. As I was saying, What was I saying? Ah, yes. So, ideally, the liminator puts everything in one room, but it's one very big room. And therefore, you're in a space with, it's probably chaos in there. I can't imagine. With all of the anomalies, all of the staff members running around one space, I wouldn't be shocked if they couldn't find the liminator itself. It might be under a table or something. V-Dubs, thank you for donating again. Are there any scenarios where the Foundation goes tyrannical, not genocidal, like in SCP-5000? I do know that during DumbCon, there was an iteration of the world where the SCP Foundation took over all world governments and instituted universal socialism because something started where everybody who was richer than other people started getting anomalously flattened, like as if by a hydraulic press. They just started getting squished. As you can see, the secretary turned president Sean Duffy was squished while the billionaire SCP-5004-B was crushed rapidly and exploded into a shower of goo. So the community's proposal for an SCP-001 event is the SCP Foundation takes over the world and institutes global socialism. So, yes, we have done a hecking tyranny before, and we will again, I'm sure. O51, thank you for donating again to say. Exactly. That means I can access your site server, but they are spouting nonsense. I'll try to decode it, but it will take some time. Interesting. Well, maybe we can find out some useful intel. Dr. Sherman, any luck on not falling for rage bait? Well, it depends on who you're asking. I'm sure if you talk to the chat, there's a varying judgment of resisting to crash out on a scale of 0 to 10. 0 being perfect stoicism, and 10 being raving, drooling lunatic. V-Dubs, thank you for donating again to say. What about the Foundation militarizing and actively fighting alongside conventional militaries? So, for militarizing, the first thing that comes to mind to me is the Dragon Slayer, SCP-5514, because that is us going in with the Global Occult Coalition and a couple other groups to build a Jaeger and get into fight with kaijus. And so that's a hell of a militarization of the Foundation if I ever heard one. Dr. Sherman, could the liminator somehow end up in the wall of the now non-liminal space? That's a good question. If the liminator were trapped in the wall of that now non-liminal space, then would they be able to break the wall to get to it? Because breaking through a wall would kind of be a middle space, but if it's within the range of the liminator, then maybe that wall is an interior wall, meaning it's not a middle space, it's still part of the one big room. So it's possible it's in a wall that is not a out exterior wall, but instead an interior wall that does not denote a middle space. That is possible. Where is the tab here? I've got so many tabs. Let me close a couple of these. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, interesting. The wiki just tweeted. Just in case you are not knowledgeable about this, site news for March just dropped. This marks the beginning of Dear College's mentor event, as well as a new wave of featured articles on the front page, as well as a new Russian language branch logo and a special creature feature. And so, hey, that is a pretty sick logo, guys. I am impressed. Oh no, the beast of sloth and gluttony. Sorry, he beast of sloth and gluttony, Panda. Top-rated front page features and reviewer spotlights are updated, and the mentor event, which I do not know about Dear College's mentor event, but it is on the front page of the wiki if you want to read the news for March. In March of 2026, Dear College will be announcing its annual writing events, and this year they'll be hosting a Mentor/Newbies event. Here, newbies will pitch their ideas to veteran writers in the SCP community, and with their help, their stories will have reached its full potential. If you are an up-and-coming author with less than 3 works, shoot your shot at the forums linked in the news for March 2026. Interesting. So yes, be sure to check the site news. You might find something interesting. O51, thank you for donating again to say. Found it in the CCTV. The Inator is in the coffee machine, but it's close to the south wall. All right, well, I'm going to need you to broadcast that to the staff members inside that room, and we can see if they can find it. How did it get... It's bigger than a coffee machine. Unless you mean a coffee vending machine. And if it's inside the vending machine, then I hope that it has not been crushed by the interior workings of said vending machine. Oh, I just thought of, no, stealing Dr. Sherman's coffee will get me fired, not demoted. And Dr. Sprite, when you say fired, it is not fired from the Foundation. It is fired from the Sun Launcher. So, yeah. Not even once. The wiki sends alerts. So they don't so much send alerts. I have over on Twitter, I have myself set to be notified when the SCP wiki tweets, just so I can see what the latest news is very quickly, so if I can tell you guys what's up. But the SCP database, if you go to the front page, then you can always find a little section here, and boom, this is Site News latest issue. And that is where you can get the site news for each month and all. And so you can go down and see the writing prompts, features from last month, front page features, reviewer spotlights, site news creature feature. How do I get my pet on the SCP database? Data and trends, that's interesting. So you can see how many SCPs were posted last month. Tales, groups of interest formats, all that kind of stuff. 6 new author pages were created. So we had 6 people ascend to having an author page amount of articles. There's all sorts of interesting data for the SCP database in our news of the month. A list of every SCP that was written in the month, or tale, so on and so forth. They're all listed in the site news. And you can go further back to see, it goes by week. You can also go back and see the archive news for different months, years, etc. So site news is very interesting to check out on the monthly. Do we use SCP-72-J on the LACKROOMS? No! No! Intern Sugar, never! They're all trapped in one big room. All of our bad bitches. There's nowhere to run if we throw that thing in there. We can't do that to them. O51, thank you for donating again to say. A guard is closing on it, and a technician is trying to open the coffee vending machine. If the site begins to shake violently, then the room are reforming themselves back to place. Well, that would be nice. I will keep an eye out for any earthquakes. Also, Site 42 staff, we are in the last 10 minutes of today's stream. We are at the 10-minute warning. I saw a Ko-Fi notification. I'm going to check that real quick. Sheeny, thank you for donating again. Contact the Department of Unreality. They're looking into my idea to see if it's even viable. They may be in contact soon. In the meantime, I've only done some cursory research on a possible alternative, but I'm not even sure said alternative is applicable / still exists. Well, we gotta scramble. Every idea is a good one right now when we are in a dire strait such as this. We can't let the entire site be sucked into one big room. Dr. Sherman, would a trans-dimensional gateway be able to get someone out of the LACKROOMS? It's hard to say because, as we know, the liminal is removing middle spaces to create one big room. And so everything inside that is one big room. A trans-dimensional gateway would be a doorway, a middle space. So it's possible that if you tried to use a trans-dimensional gateway to get in there, it would automatically be shut down by the liminal. It depends on how much energy it has versus the gateway generator. Intern Lumage, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. Also, don't we have a mobile task force named White Rabbits who deal with these situations? Intern Sugar, you are correct. The White Rabbits are usually the first on deck to deal with spatial anomalies. Although this spatial anomaly is quite different, they're not dealing with that kind of surreality of space like, say, the Backrooms, Jingle Jangle. But they are, I guess because they're all forced into one space, it is making some jumble of space in that space. Space! We're making good progress today, people. We're making good progress. O51, thank you for donating again to say. Inator found shaking in 2 minutes. All personnel, breasts. I'm not feeling anything on my end. Are you sure they've got the right device? Dr. Sherman, the Foundation made artificial intelligence constructs able to shut off the Inator because there are 2 at Site 42. I'm not sure about that because I don't recall it being locked onto Wi-Fi or anything like that. I feel as if the liminal liminalinator is a standalone device. So I don't think the AICs would have a way to get into it. Dr. Sherman, how do you feel about everyone who helps you? By helps you, I mean watch you. Well, for those who watch and support Site 42, I am exceptionally grateful because your viewership helps give me the power to broadcast a stronger signal to support the SCP community and the projects that are created within it. So I can't be anything except exceptionally grateful that such a thing happens. Dr. Sherman, what are your thoughts on SCP-705? Intern states, I don't know anything about 705 off the top of my head, so I don't have any opinions off first glance, but I can pull it up and see what it says. The militaristic Play-Doh, okay. My answer to that is keep it in its box. I am perfectly fine with not letting militaristic Play-Doh run around the site. It's a tripping hazard. Dr. Sherman, if you can get SCP-6266, it should be able to get people out if they have access to a vehicle. 6266, you say? I'm interested. Was that 6266? SCP-6266, codename Red Light, Green Light. It refers to a standard traffic signal with a non-functioning amber light. When a vehicle transverses under 6266 while it is displaying a green light, said vehicle and its contents will spontaneously transport after a bright white flash to a location of the driver's choice. Led by Michael Sephiroth. The majority of tests were conducted by him. Went under a green light and were transported to the Site 19 parking lot. Huh. Interesting. That's a lot of testing logs. I'm going to have to go over that and see how viable that is. It is currently placed on Site 94's East Road. The road is blocked to all civilians with the exception of Level 3 staff who are allowed to operate 6266 in order to ship any anomalous objects to other Foundation sites. I do love a good anomaly that helps us with transit. Do me a favor, put a ringer out to 6266. To the research staff of 6266 over at Site 94. And see if they'll let us borrow the anomaly for a little bit. Let me clear this. Sheeny, thank you for donating again to the Ko-Fi to say. Now, when I say cursory research, I mean it, so take this with a grain of salt. Is 6820 still around, and we'll be able to use it to essentially hit the rewind button on this mess? I severely doubt that even if it were still up and running, that the 6820 project lead would let us have access. They are pretty stingy with that. But I mean, it is a thaumiel. It can't hurt to ask. We have to do some hella negotiations with the alternate universe that runs it. We might get a better luck with just trying to get the traffic light. 051, thank you for donating again to say. Sadly, I can't control it, even if I'm in the database and those idiots push the wrong button. 729 SJ has spawned in the room at the north wall. Oh. So you're saying that that thing is now in the LACKROOMS? May all the Jesus have mercy on their souls. Wait a minute. I wonder how many Bibles have been trapped in the LACKROOMs with them. No, even if Jesus could get them out and put them in Jesus land, it's highly possible that they would end up right back where they started. That's not a strategy. Sorry, I got my own hopes up there. 100 stars. Thank you for sending a 100 to today's Containment Hazard Assessment team. I'm sure they will keep being at 100 thanks to your generosity. Homeworld, thank you for sending a good game to today's Containment Hazard Assessment team. I'm sure that they did play a good game. And also a second good game. They will keep the good game going even longer. Intern Jake, welcome to the Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. 23 Master of Salt, thank you for your first donations to today's stream, 2 of them, as well as grabbing a... Grab yourself a milkshake on your way past the commissary. What would happen if 097 and Allied Master Computer meet? I mean 079. Okay, so you do mean the old AI versus AM. So, while they are both not big fans of humanity, so to speak, I do believe that the Allied Master Computer has a far higher output than 079. 079 is on a fairly low-rent computer system. I do believe if the two AIs were to clash, then Allied Master Computer would simply overwrite 079. O51, thank you for donating again to say they had 1 Bible and it was already consumed. Well, I do hope they are, just hiding out safely in the Jesus Land theme park, staying safe from those Sons of the Swallowed cultists. But, it's gotta be better than being in that one big room. Somebody asked about an update to SCP Gallionic. Friends of the channel, SCP the Anime. Now, reminder, they did an interview on the YouTube channel Decentralized Pictures today. If you go to Decentralized Pictures on YouTube, then you will see at Decentralized Pictures on YouTube a 51-minute interview with SOM Studios talking about SCP Gallionic, teaching their man over here what the hell the SCP Foundation even is, which we have to do all the time. Their Kickstarter is still kicking along. They are currently up to... it went down from 214 to 213. I hate when a backer backs out. But we're getting closer and closer to that full 20-minute episode. So remember to keep sharing the SCP, the anime-ness, so that we can have more and more. I'm now going to mute our ambiance and enjoy the trailer again.
So, your choice. What will it be? to what little I have.
Now, I want you guys, Mobile Task Force Psi-42, codename Signal Boosters, to remember two things. Number one, to keep up the good work, sharing this around, getting eyes on it because some people still don't know it exists, donating if you can, sharing whether you have donated or not. The more people that see this, the better our odds of getting it. So keep up the good work. Secondarily, I want you to go to the Decentralized Pictures YouTube channel and watch that interview if you haven't already. Comment on it. Let them know the SCP community, Mobile Task Force Psi-42 codename Signal Boosters, is here for this. We need to show these DCP folks that there's energy in this. And third and finally, I want you guys to think about some questions you would like to know about SCP Gallionic. Because a little birdie told me that we might be hosting a dual stream with them in the near future. And so if you want to be able to talk to the team from SCP Gallionic and get your questions asked, perhaps think of some questions. I think we might be hearing from our friends at SOM Studios sooner than later. But for today, people, we are at 96 minutes of a 90-minute stream, which means we are at the end of stream. I need a nap. And I need to then solve this liminal later problem. But in the meantime, before I do that, at the end of every stream, I tell you guys my favorite SCPs. Not going to tell you that my favorites are the one I wrote. That's cheating. But if you want to read the SCPs I personally wrote, you can contribute. You can go to my author page on the Site42 database to see the SCPs I contributed to the SCP Wiki. Maybe through writing them, or maybe some voice lines, some sound effects and all. And while you're on my author page, one tab over, you'll find a list of links. Some links that a lot of people are interested in finding, but they just don't look hard enough. It's very sad for them. But not you guys. If you guys go to those links, I'm sure you'll find them. You'll find what you're looking for. You're a very determined bunch, you are. I know that much. And so while you're on my author page looking at those links, you can become a Patreon patron or a YouTube channel member to donate to us monthly. You can do a Ko-Fi or a YouTube Super Chat to donate to us once at a time. Either way, direct donations are the quickest way to help us out here at Site42 to keep the lights on for myself and my staff. So we appreciate your generosity if you are able to do so. And if you are not, because you are part of the broke gang, do not fret. We're an arts community. We understand starving artists a little too well, unfortunately. But you can still help us out by being members of Mobile Task Force Psi-42, codename the Signal Boosters. When you are out there sharing these projects, liking, commenting, chatting, all of that YouTube business, not just for us, but for the projects we support, you are helping them and us in the algorithm, boosting our signal so that more people see them. Likelihood, some of those people have money to donate, if not from you. And so by being a signal booster, you are helping us get the word out. More signal, more boost, more better, helping us to support the SCP Wiki and its authors, artists, animators, game devs, filmmakers, merch makers, podcasters, etc. And so we thank you very much, Mobile Task Force Psi-42 codename Signal Boosters, for your service as well. And now, without further ado, my favorite SCPs in no particular order are SCP-3999, SCP-3043, SCP-008-J, SCP-Spooky-J, SCP-5031, SCP-5175, SCP-5320, and SCP-8980. Content warning on that last one, it's a bit of a rough read. Speed round. 3999-3043-008-J, Spooky-J, 5031, 5175, Internet Entity. Content warning on the last one, it's a rough read. Also, intern Gordon Freeman, thank you for your generous hot cocoa. I will use that to relax and help myself to get to sleep, so thank you for your generosity. Site42 staff, this has been another Dr. Sherman's Coffee Break, a subsidiary of the anomalous broadcast from Site42. I hope you had fun. I hope you learned something. Be safe, be well, and as always, secure, contain, protect, and I'll see you in the next video or stream. I've got time to think about my past as I dodge between the bullets. How my life was so exciting before I got this way. And how long ago it was now I never can explain. By the clock that's on the tower or the one that's in my brain. And I'm there before you know it. I'll be gone before you see me, and I'd like to get to know you, but you're talking much too slowly, and I know you'd really like me, but I never stick around, 'cause time keeps dragging on, and on, and on, and on, and on. And you say the world goes rushing by, but it seems so slow to me. And you see a blur around you fly, but it takes too long, it seems so slow to me. And time keeps dragging on. The credit song is The Ballad of Barry Allen by Jim's Big Ego. Be safe, be well, Site 42 staff, and as always, secure, contain, protect, and pixel perfect. Welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing.